hey, I'm responsible. They don't need a full makeover. They don't need to become Pretty Woman. It just, I just didn't connect with this guy at all, aside from the fact that I love Friday Night Lights. If you know what I mean there.
Yeah. No, I mean, you've got that. Yeah, you're carrying that fandom into his role.
There's
really no one in this cast that's fully fleshed out from the characters. I mean, they're definitely secondary characters to the action and the military vessels in general.
Well, yeah, this movie's definitely not heavy on character development. I just wonder what would have happened had I watched it, had I not been a fan of his from Friday Night Lights, if I would have actually liked the movie a lot more. But I mean, this guy's likable, and I feel terrible for him. I don't feel terrible. He got a huge bump, but he went from John Carter to Battleship to The Savages. All three didn't do well. Then he had to repivot and go into 21 Bridges as a side character, or Waco as Koresh. Like, he kind of had to become a character actor after that. And that's not his fault. Tom, you're in a TV show and you play a supporting character and everyone's like, man, we love that guy. Let's put him in a $200 million movie as the star. You're not going to say no. You're going to take these films. You're going to strike. You're going to get paid. So you can't feel, it's not his fault that he took those things. I think anybody on the planet would have.
Oh yeah. And I don't think and it's very odd that those three movies would have failed anyways, considering who was behind the camera.
Yeah. Oliver Stone, Peter Berg, hot off Hancock. Like, he was hot. Yep. He was Hansel hot. No, he was Zoolander hot. So hot right now. And then John Carter had the Pixar guy making the movie.
Taylor.
Yeah, I forget his name, but he had full directorial control when he made John Carter. And so he fought with the studios, he fought on all that. And also the buzz about John Carter.
Andrew Stanton.
Yeah, Andrew Stanton. And the buzz about John Carter was supremely negative before it came out, too. So we had two movies coming out that just had really bad buzz because they were ultra expensive. So, I don't know, I get it. I get the dislike about this movie. But it's goobery fun. When the aliens shoot their missiles, they look like the Battleship pegs. It just makes me happy.
Well, and the movie is so self-aware. Like, it doesn't take itself seriously.
Mm-hmm. He killed my grad student.
Yeah, and I've kind of related back to this in other podcasts that we've done about the self-awareness of it. It's not to the point of a parody, but I mean, it's the characters know how absurd these situations are. Like, the sailors constantly screaming, like, I didn't sign up for this, looking through the periscope or the viewfinder, whatever it might be. Are you kidding me? I didn't know that one moved. Like, just to me, like, that brings it all back. Like, it doesn't elevate itself too serious. And that's what would get me.
Yeah, there's a heightened atmosphere. They're having fun. Liam Neeson knows exactly what movie he's in. He just wanted a free trip to Hawaii. Skarsgård knew what he was doing. He just wanted a trip to Hawaii. Yeah. And can you believe the access that Peter Berg had with the Navy? They convinced the Navy in Hawaii to let them take out a battleship for a day. And it was a dry dock. Like, that's...
So, yes.
It's insane.
The USS Missouri was dry dock going under restoration. And they were able to convince the U.S. Navy to tug it out to open sea and do scenes on it. I mean, that's absolutely amazing. The pull that Berg had with them to be able to convince them to do that, but two, just the willingness of the U.S. Navy to let them use, literally, like, free of charge, let them use the most famous battleship in the history of the world. I mean, this was the ship that
Under Siege
surrendered on in 1945. I mean, this is huge.
Yeah.
And Casey Ryback also saved everybody. 2 decades before that.
But yeah, I mean, another thing that makes this movie work, and that's why it's kind of talked about the access they had to the Navy. There's a lot of studio work here, right? There's a lot of green screen. But they went out on a barge a mile out in the ocean to get some of these shots. They were up in the mountains of Hawaii, shooting. I mean, this is an on-location shoot. Yes, there's studio work when they're doing the water displacement, et cetera, et cetera. They built some sets. I mean, they built some beautiful sets, actually, Tom. I mean, the production designers, they made their money on this movie.
The production design of this is top notch.
Oh, top! I mean, that's what $200 million does, right?
As good as this.
No, yeah, and the $200 million is all on screen too, which I like. So I don't mind expensive movies, such as, let's say, I don't like Jupiter Ascending or any of those films, or as long as I can see Cutthroat Island, as long as I can see every cent on screen. And you can see every cent on screen in Battleship. And the production designer, get this guy did Spider-Man, he did Face Off, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Battleship, Hancock, Spider-Man 1 and 2. He was Sam Raimi's guy for years. So, I mean, this guy had Heat, Disclosure, Hancock, I mean, Wind River. Oh, I love that movie. Spencer Confidential. But yeah, I mean, and look, the money they spent on this, Tom.
Oh, yeah.
But you see it all. It looks beautiful. And I think it captures at the end, I think it captures the sort of Americana and the sort of war ain't it fantastic vibe at the end when they have the guys, the original veterans on the boat. Just, even though they're standing there posing for zero reason, it's just a nice way to honor these men. And it made me, when I was in the theater, when that scene happened, I started laughing with just happiness, not laughing at it. I just went, yeah! It was so absurd, right? To see these guys just posing on the boat. But they earned it, and it's fun. And I think that's what this movie knows what it is.
So when I first saw this movie, this is part of the reason it's so very near and dear to my heart. I saw this at a pre-screener in St. Louis with one of my good buddies, Ben Travers, who's now
you and your pre-screeners.
Yep, who's now a critic at IndieWire, but he somehow got these screener tickets. I think it was just through the membership of the theater, and they sent it out. So I was so pumped up for this, and I think he got like 5 tickets. So a bunch of our buddies went. We pre-gamed before this, so like we treated it as like a college football game. We got pretty saucy before we went in, and it ended up being an audience full of veterans.
Whoa.
It was like a veteran screener, and these guys loved it.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it was a really cool experience, like watching these guys, watch this movie that's about, the Navy. Like, you don't have, there's not too many movies out there where the Navy is saving the world.
No.
And so that's pretty cool that they're kind of getting honored in that way. But yeah, man, I just remember screaming like a little girl through that entire movie. And especially right there when they finally round back to the USS Missouri and they're going to bring the Mighty Mo out, all those old salty sea dogs just suddenly show up. What can I do for you, son? It's like all these old World War II Korean vets just suddenly appear on the Mighty Mo, and they somehow scrounge up a bunch of ordnance and they're going to take it out for a run.
They're not going to take this boat down.
No way.
I love that. And then are we really going to shoot on the mainland? Holy.
Somebody's going to kiss the donkey.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means. But I love it.
I love and when they were carrying the missile, the looks on their faces, just kind of, it was just, there's a cheeky, fun vibe to it. And I dug it. It never felt, for a lack of a better word, like military porn, but it also kind of was, because Peter Berg's family, was like a naval historian, his dad was. I mean, he came into this film with a great respect for it. I think that shows in the movie. I think it does too. I mean, it's his hallmark, his calling back to what he loved in his childhood. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think it paints, especially, I don't even know how to say it. Like, I just think it paints the Navy in a good picture here. I mean, people can take it for what it is, but it doesn't say anything bad, and that's what I appreciate. I think it's as patriotic as you can get for an alien invasion movie.
And yeah, a lot of people were kind of hating on it for that, but I liked it. I thought it felt fun and organic.
And we can get into, like, one of the things I also really love about this is a lot of movies that show these types of destroyers and battleships. Like, you're always getting caught up in the action, like on the ship, in the quarters. Like, very rarely do you actually get to see like these giant 16-inch cannons, guns firing off.
Yeah.
And what I really appreciate appreciate about this movie is its ability just to pull back, and it just looks at like
the overhead shots, right?
The overhead shots. It takes almost like a master shot of the entire battle taking place, and so you just see. And I just keep going back to it, like the Mighty Mo just going full broadside off of that, what they call the club hull, where they drop the anchor and it swings into position, and it just going full broadside fire. Like, I just think that's so cool because we do not see that in movies. And just the all-out ability of these ships' power.
That's a great point, because when you think about this, there's aircraft carriers. There's a lot of aircraft carriers. Mm-hmm. There are Under Siege. I mean, even to a certain extent, Crimson Tide. But, I mean, you can't really have a master shot in movies like that. But it's inside the sweaty corridors with Gene Hackman and Denzel Washington yelling at each other sweatily. This one, you get that master shot. When all those... Okay, when they're doing the water displace... Wait, no, let's see. Yeah. When they're doing the water displacement moment, it's just... and then what? Rihanna says mahalo, mother blank blanks, and they just blow up that ship. You see it. And that's it. Once again, ILM is able to make it work. They're able to. No, I mean, this movie has scale, and it's a very fun popcorn blockbuster. I just think people went into it a little jaded. That's just what I think. Too. Yeah.
That moment with the NOAA tsunami buoys too, where they actually played Battleship with the aliens, yes. I think is ingenious. Well, I mean, it's like how do you incorporate the game into a movie? So it's like, yeah, I got this cheap little $20 game I picked up at Target. How do I turn this into a $200 million blockbuster? So it's like they literally crunch it down into a 5-minute section of the movie, but I think it's really smart how they do it.
I agree.
It's like those. The NOAA tsunami buoys, as you said, like the water displacement, like how do you actually track it? Then you overlay it with the chart plot. You know, they go secure spy and shut off all outgoing signals pretty much, lock the ship down. But it's like even when they're firing those missiles from the USS John Paul Jones to the alien vessels, it's like it's black. Like you see it going through the air, but you don't have any idea of like kind of what direction it's going other than on the chart plot.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that kind of, it gives you the feel of the game where you're just guessing, that letter and number to try to hit your opponent's battleship.
I love it. And it's smart too, because there's some development in it. Like, where'd you learn this? Well, we have in Japan, we have the tsunamis. And so we have the buoys. So we're able to hack into those, and then we track water displacement. Mm-hmm. And you're going, oh, okay. And then Taylor Kitsch says, hey, Nagata, my seat is your seat. Like, there's a nice moment right there. And it's, use some math, have some fun with it. I mean, it gets creative, and it harkens back to the game. It doesn't feel cynical at all. I just don't think that it feels thought out. And so when you see it, at least for me, I enjoyed that, because they brought in just tsunamis from Japan, tracking water displacement. It's still in the Pacific. It makes sense. It checks out. Definitely. Hey, so how about this? Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, I have something very special. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
All right, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks. And Tom, I gave you an assignment. I asked you to come up with 5 things that you really love about this movie that people might have missed, and that makes it a better movie than what people thought. And after listening to your 5 things, I want them to just park their car, buy Battleship on their phones, and just watch it in a parking lot. Not driving. That's not safe. Or just wherever you are right now. They just stop and buy Battleship because of your 5 moments. So I want to hear these.
If you're at work, just quit work for the next 2 hours and 15 minutes and go watch Battleship. So these aren't in any particular order for ranking. But first off, in this world, radio waves are visible to the human eye. And how cool is that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a sucker for visuals, and I love looking. I just love the idea of actually being able to visually see a signal shooting from dishes in Hawaii up to Landsat 7 all the way out to some distant planet millions of light years away.
I mean, it makes narrative sense, because if they're like, we're going to shoot a massive signal, and then they do a wide shot of just satellites sitting there, it's not going to